This is the story of one of Ghana's most extraordinary assassination attempts. It's January 1964, and Ghana's president, Dr. KWAME Nkrumah, walks into his office at the Flagstaff House that morning with energy for a new year, completely unaware that one of his own bodyguards was planning to murder him before the day ends. Some constables had been assigned to protect the president that day, each armed with powerful .303 rifles. They were supposed to guard him from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. But amongst these trusted protectors was a traitor named AMETEWEE, a man who had volunteered for this duty for one sinister purpose: to get close enough to assassinate Ghana's leader. For hours, AMETEWEE watched and waited. He studied every movement, every routine. He knew exactly when the president would emerge from his office, and he was ready. At about 1 p.m., President Nkrumah stepped outside with his loyal aide-de-camp, Salifu Dagati. They were headed to their car when suddenly a gunshot shattered the afternoon silence. A shot came out of nowhere, startling both men so badly that they immediately turned back towards the residence. That's when Abdullahi, the lead constable in charge of the security, rushed towards the president and witnessed something horrifying. His own colleague, AMETEWEE, was standing there with his rifle aimed directly at the president. Another shot rang out. This time, everyone knew where exactly it was coming from. Salifu Dagati, who presumably wasn't even armed, looked straight at the gunman. Instead of running, this brave man raised his arms slightly above his shoulders and began advancing towards the assassin. He ducked behind one tree and then another, moving closer and closer to AMETEWEE, determined to stop him. But as Salifu prepared to leap forward and arrest the killer, AMETEWEE pulled the trigger a third time. The bullet struck Salifu directly in the head and he killed him instantly. A pathologist would later testify in court that his skull had been shattered into fragments, his brain severely damaged by the impact. AMETEWEE was arrested immediately, and what he allegedly told police afterwards was absolutely chilling. In his statements to the police, he admitted everything. He claimed he had deliberately monitored the president's movements, watching him enter and leave his office. He confessed that his first shot had missed only because he held the gun carelessly, saying that if he had aimed properly, he would have killed Nkrumah on the spot. But it gets even more disturbing. AMETEWEE purportedly told the police that he had fired 3 times while watching Salifu desperately trying to protect the president, holding his hand and dragging him towards safety. According to his statements though, his sole target was the president and he didn't care who else got hurt. According to his courtroom account, Salifu at one point stood with his arms and legs spread wide and was even reciting incantations, begging the gunman to shoot him instead of the president. AMETEWEE testified that he paused because Salifu wasn't his target, but then when he saw another chance to aim at the president, who was running towards the residence, he took his third and fatal shot. He had even prepared a 4th round, but the bullets jammed and fell out of his rifle. His entire case was that his intended target was not Salifu, but the president. The prosecution's case, however, was based on solid grounds. There were multiple eyewitnesses who testified in court that they saw AMETEWEE with their own eyes, and AMETEWEE's own statements were essentially confessions. Representing himself with no lawyer, he was quickly convicted of murder by the jury. But then came the appeal, and this is where the story takes an interesting legal turn. His new lawyer, Mr. Afre, faced an almost impossible task. How do you defend a man who had essentially confessed to attempted assassination and murder? He tried a desperate and speculative strategy. They argued that since AMETEWEE was only trying to kill the president, he couldn't be responsible for Salifu's death. Someone else must have fired the fatal shot, they claimed. They even pointed out that one of AMETEWEE's 5 bullets couldn't be accounted for, suggesting therefore that another person had used it to kill Salifu. The Court of Appeal was simply not buying it. They explained something crucial about intent in criminal law. If you shoot a person A but miss and kill a person B, you are still guilty of murdering the person B. The legal intent, the mens rea, transfers from your intended target to your actual victim. The evidence was overwhelming. 4 other police officers testified seeing only AMETEWEE firing gunshots that day. When all officers were asked to account for the ammunition, everyone could do so except him. Even the missing bullet that was alleged was brought to court, and under cross-examination, AMETEWEE admitted it was his. The appeal failed. AMETEWEE's attempt to assassinate Ghana's president had cost an innocent man his life, and the law held him fully accountable. This case became a landmark in Ghanaian legal history, not just for the audacious assassination attempt, but for how it clarified the law around criminal intent and transferred intent. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the greatest threats that come to us are from those closest to us, and that heroes like Salifu vanguards are willing to sacrifice everything to protect what they believe in, and they deserve to be commended.